Well, hello everybody. It's the silly Englishman back for another stream with some more weird content and other stuff. And I've forgotten to turn the volume off on the stream, like I always do. And I end up looking like a complete idiot. But hey ho, I've got it sorted this time. So this stream is a follow up to the one I did the other day, which was basically explaining the types of tournament available in the BattleTech CCG version or game, and then there was the constructed tournament where you rocked up with your own deck and played it, and then there was sealed where you used a number of either boosters or sealed decks to create your own and then play the game normally with to win, so to speak, without any of the universe rules. So the idea of this is to show you guys how to draft a sealed deck. And I'm going to keep it simple for the moment because there are a couple of things to be done for a tournament version of that. And the reason for that is that it is possible, if you know what you're doing, to swap cards in and out. So there is a thing that Lackey uses, which is called a checksum, which is a function of all the card values themselves. And therefore, when you create the sealed deck, effectively, which Lackey does itself by pulling cards from its database or list of cards in the game, then you get the same value each time. So it's used to check that people aren't loading up a booster and swapping cards in and out. So anyway, there are a couple of ways of doing that, and we're not going to go into that here and now. What we're going to do is we're going to look at two people having a casual game of sealed or sealed deck and literally just drafting some stuff, putting the deck together, and then going to play. Okay, so first of all, we obviously need Lackey, and the important thing is in the top left-hand corner, way up there or over there, we want the deck builder. And for those of you that have used Lackey a fair bit, you'll remember or you can identify with this screen at the top of this area being basically where your deck is, where your cards are stored. And then the bottom half, there is a massive list of all the cards available. And you can see in the middle of the screen on the left-hand side, it says all the cards, 2,392. Okay, that's not every. Well, that's more than BattleTech. BattleTech's about 830, I think it is. So there's a bucket load of extra cards, and then next to it there is a tab that everybody misses and nobody sees called Card Pool. And in order to access the sealed or drafting facility, you need to click on the card pool, and all of a sudden the menu underneath changes, and all those cards disappear because we are now looking at the card pool and there is nothing in it. So it's nice and blank. So just to be clear, the top half of the screen is your deck. The bottom half of the screen is a card pool, which is kind of like an intermediate phase between everything and your deck. And the card pool is where you're going to create your sealed decks or sealed cards or draft them, and then you're going to use that to create your deck. Okay. So there are a couple of options. New card pool, always worth clicking on. If you've saved them, and you can save them just like decks, you can open up the recent ones, browse them, etc., etc. And then at the end, there is a add pack or random deck button right in the middle, just here. Okay, and you want to click on that, and I can now go bit of pride, bit of self ego, because everything in there I generated or I wrote the stuff to. I had some feedback from a few people, Michael being one of them, because he's the plugin owner, about how we structured and organised this. But all of the bits behind it that generate each of these packs, I did the research for. So as you can see at the top of the list, there are the starters, and there is an unlimited starter. Yeah, I scan the image. Okay. And then there are the Commander's Edition, Comstar, Davian, Karita, and Steiner, all four sealed decks. And there is the clan versions in Ghost Bear, Jade Falcon, Smoke Jag, and Wolf. and they are all, as far as I am concerned, correct. They are identical copies of the 50 cards that go into the deck, and there is a random draw for the remaining 10 cards that each deck features randomly. Okay, so the core deck is 50 cards. I took samples of various decks from various people. Thanks to Mark DeBlisi, I believe his name is, who put a PDF together and made that available, and even started this off a number of months back, saying what's in there, because I understand there are some variations. Thanks to my good friend Gustav Olsen for taking his decks apart and sticking them on the table and just taking a picture of them. It was a simple exercise from his point of view, rather than list everything, but it saved me an awful lot of time, and I could easily cross-reference stuff. So what I did was I got copies of each what people thought they were was in their starter deck. So I had 3 copies of the Karita starter, 3 copies of the Signer ones, etc. And in some cases, I had more than that, even 4 or 5, because I managed to get some from various other sources on the internet and the old Yahoo group, and I could cross-reference everything against everything else, and work out what the 50 cards that were static were. And that's quite easy when you're looking at a Steiner deck. Then, if it's got Steiner affiliation, it's not going anywhere other than in that deck. So you can make a few assumptions like that, and then few more about, well, it's an inner sphere or card, whether it's a mission or whatever else, and got it down finally to the 50 cards that were in there, and then the list of the variable cards, and then pulled the variable cards from across all of the decks in order to make a list to randomly select the final 10 cards from. So they are all, as far as I'm concerned, true to their original form, with one caveat, and that was to remove the Black Hawk D and the Puma C from the random clan mech list, because there are enough missiles in the Smoke Jag deck that everyone thinks it's broken. And if you randomly drew those 2, or even one of them, which I think was something like a 40 or 50, I think it was something like a 60% chance that you would get one of them, would just make the deck even worse than it already is. So I removed those and put a couple of substitutes in from the same list, and I put that up as a survey on the Facebook group, and people tended to agree. So they are what they are. Okay, the booster packs. Thank you to all those people that did opening booster pack videos. There are a number of out there. I think Travis Gardner's done a number, and I've watched a lot of those in order to work out where the cards are, order wise, and what they are. So, for example, this limited edition booster, or limited edition booster, actually has 2 resources as the last 2 cards. So, as a booster, it's only actually worth 13 cards of missions, mechs, and commands, and 2 resources, which is why for the tournament I'm running in January, I actually excluded it, and added instead 1 copy of every resource. And again, this is something that I looked at and again took a bit of advice on, and made decisions on, and I think we're all quite happy with that. I have added a packet of resources, which is 1 of everything. So you get 1 A, 1 L, 1 M, 1 P, 1 T, a 2 cost and a 5 cost. And everyone said, why 1, 2, and 5? Well, if you want to give people 8 assembly, then the simple way to do it is 1, 2, and 5. Because then you can do multiples. You can do all the numbers up to 10 quite reasonably easily with 1, 2, and 5. 1 and 2 on their own. 1 and 2 makes 3. 2 and 2 makes 4. 5's on its own. 5 and 1. 5 and 2. 5, 1 and 2. 5, 2 and 2 and 10, and away you go. So it's a simple way to get as many copies as you want of all of them. And that's for people that want to just draft boosters. I'm not convinced with that. I'm not so sure that's as much fun as doing a deck. But if people want to do boosters and then just say, right, everyone gets 8 copies of each resource, you can just simply add them. And again, this is checksummed, so you can verify what people are adding to their pools, and therefore it's all legit kind of thing. And then finally, some judges in the past have allowed the exchange of one or maybe up to one of each type of card for basic resources. So this allows you to get a minimum so many of assembly, or logistics or tactics or munitions or politics if you want to. So they're all there. It's taken a lot of work to do. It's taken a lot of work to code it all up, and also do all the images and work them all out, but and dismantle everything. But they're all there to allow people to play either sealed deck with either the unlimited starter or one of the Commander's Edition ones, with whichever boosters are allowed. Whether people want to do a booster draft and use a number of boosters and then top up resources, or if you want to play any of the other variations. So we've done sealed deck, we've done booster draft. If you want to do Rochester draft, then you can use all of these boosters in the same way, load them up, take a card, rotate it round. It's all doable with this particular setup. So all those things I talked about last time link perfectly into here. So very, very simply, this time we are going to actually draft, or we're going to draft a sealed deck, and then I'm going to show you how to turn it into a deck, and then we'll play around with it and try and turn it into something that's reasonably interesting or solid. Okay, so I'm going to take the unlimited booster, and in the top corner here it says choose and view quantity 1, and it says send directly to hand if you click the send directly to button. Note that hand also has stockpile, scrap heap, remove from the game, and sideboard. We're not going to play with any of those for the moment. We are just going to choose and view. And if I click on that, I get the wonderful view, and you'll find that I have now added 60 cards into my deck. Okay, so this is a 60 card unlimited starter. And you can see down here there are 4 assembly, 4 logistics, 5 munitions, 5 politics, 4 tactics. There are 4 of each and 2 randoms. Okay, so this is why I've added 1 each of every other asset. So if we add a pack, we'll add 1 each of every resource. Choose that, and that's gone in. And you can see, because I used specific, I made all the assemblies the same, and the ones that you add, I made them all Commander's Edition. You can see that they have all been added separately. It does allow you to distinguish between them. So I've now got my assets in there, and I am now going to add my mercenary booster. There we go. And I am going to add my mech warrior booster. And instead of choose and view this time, I'm just going to click choose. So I now should have a 95 card pool. And it says here in the blue tab, card pool 95. Those are the 95 cards that I can use to make my deck. A 60 card starter, 2 15 card boosters, and the 1 of every resource pack that I have added and allowed. Okay, and you're now thinking, yay, I've got 95 cards, and now I've got to click on all of them to add them to the deck. No, you don't. At the very bottom, in the middle of the screen, there is add all to deck button. Bang. They're now in there. And for reference, I'm going to save this card pool as well. So I'm just going to go, let's call it stream draft. And let's call it 01. Now, the important thing to note here is that this has saved the card pool, not the deck. So this saves the card pool, and it's completely separate. Okay, so when we're running the tournament, people will have to save the card pool and send me a list. So I've got a list of every card that they've got, and then they will draft or create their deck separately from this list. And what cards are not used becomes the sideboard. So we need to trim this deck down to a cohesive 45 cards. Everything else goes into the sideboard. So I'm going to have a look at what I've got over here. And I'm just trying to expand that a little. Okay, so I'm just going to organize it by type so I can see what we've got. We've got an underworld connections, transportation delay, by the way, training facility for pilots and a targeting ace. Solaris Vet, okay. Solaris Contacts, Sat Bombing, Sandhurst, Sabotage Mech, Scrap Mech was real, delete one damage for counters. Rocky Gorge, which is nice. Redline Pilot, nice. Rapid Deployment, Point Defense System, Phelan. That could be interesting. Mercenary Relationship, Mech Trap, Maneuvering Ace, Lawman's the Last Command. Okay, so I can see there's a few pilots in here, and I'm lucky enough to get a Solaris Contacts. So that might be quite a useful one. I've got a Gearhead as well. Death Commando Strike is always good. Temporary Ceasefire, taking the hit, expert timing. Okay, I'm a little low on missions. And then I've got my mechs. And the interesting thing with a sealed draft like this is that you can play the mechs that you want. You do not have to play by universe rules. So I can put this Zeus in the same deck as this Wyvern. This Davian Steiner Zeus can go in the same deck as this generic clan mech, or even this Night Gyre B, which is aligned to Smoke Jag Jade Falcon. So let's have a look at what else we've got. Wyvern, Wolf Trap. It's not bad, Wolf Trap, to be honest. A 1/5/2 alpha for 2. You can get 4 out of it. That's reasonable. Whitworth's cheap and cheerful. Vulture Prime is expensive. Vulture C is reasonable. Vulcan, not too. Yeah, it's alright. Irby. Thor C. It's quite expensive for what it is. Ryokan Prime is much better. 266 Alpha 2 jump versus 276. I'll take the Ryokan for 1 less crime each time. Pouncers are okay. The Night Gyre B is solid. It's a 295 for 6, but it's got long range 2 and jump. Nagas are alright. Man of War's solid. Lucky Prime. Oh, God. There's no way that's getting on the table, not with all of those buyouts. Katana's decent. Jenna's one of my fewer fast mechs. Hoplite is cheap and cheerful. Grim Regan Falcon Hawk. The Exterminator I quite like. It's quite good value at 173 for 3. Enforcer Dragon. I've got a fast Dragonfly. I've got a Dasher Prime. Dasher D. Dasher Ds are okay. The only cards that are banned are Elite Mech Warrior and Effective Groundwork. If I'd have drafted the 2-cost Night Sky, I could play with it. I don't think that 1 2-cost Night Sky is going to break anybody's deck. Okay. Clint is good value for money. Blackjack with C3. It's okay. I haven't got any other C3. I might throw that out. But even for 4-cost 173, it's all right. There are much better things for 4-cost, but it's not the end of the world. The Merrick Awesome, an Atlas, and a very nice Anvil. Okay, so what am I thinking? I have pilots. I have the potential for a bit of politics if I want it. I've got Phelan, which isn't great, but I do have a Death Commando Strike, which is a very strong card because it basically allows you to get rid of 1 card in play other than a mech. So it's a great unique killer, but it will also deal with the terrain. And if I haven't got a creative terraforming, then that's probably my only option. So I might have to devolve into politics here. I don't have any war funds because they're Arsenal. I don't have any think tanks. Think tanks are vitals off the unlimited set, and therefore and because the vitals only turn up about 30% of the time, you get a 30% chance of getting one of them instead of one of your standard um, resources here. So quite rare to have that. Um, Artillery bombardment. Okay, so right, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to be brutal. Underworld connections, I don't like. Training facility, that could have some synergy. Transportation delay, I like transportation delay, but it's logistics, and if I'm not careful, we're going to play A, L, M, P, and T. So I'm gonna. This is totally brutal. You know, there are a lot of decks where I would put that in. Targeting ace. I do not see many missile decks down here. Have I got anything? Oh, I've got a Grim Reaper with a missile on it. Okay. Have I got anything else? I've got an Atlas with a missile on it. So I got 2 mechs that I can use. Oh, I've got the Vulture Prime. Yeah, if I get that on the table. All right. So again, I'm going totally brutal. I've got like 3 places to put my targeting ace. I'm not having him in the deck. He's gone. I am going to, at this point, hack out logistics. I don't know why. Maybe it'd be good to restock, but I'm taking that out. Sat Bomb is a politics card. I'm going with that. Sandhurst. This is going to be controversial. You know I don't like it. It's L and P. I need mechs. I need units. I need missions. I need things on the table. Sabotage mech might be an option. I'm going to get rid of it. Rocky Gorge I'll keep. Redline I'll keep. Rapid deployment. Pay a resource to gain an additional deployment. It might be giving me a benefit. It goes. Point defense system. Don't know. You get a missile deck, you could be in a lot of trouble. That could work well. I'm gonna leave it for the moment. It'll be one of the ones that will get cut, maybe. Phelan. +1 initiative. Nice. Restock a card you've drawn and draw another card. Okay. Powerful, but it's politics, 3 politics. Sideboard. Sorry, Phelan. Mercenary relationship. Tap. Take a mercenary card from your scrap heap and put it in your hand. How many mercenary cards have I got in here? And the answer is not a lot. Okay, so sorry, that's in the sideboard. Mech Trap, very expensive. Sideboard. Maneuvering Ace might be worth it. We'll leave it. We've got some pilots. Lawmaster, I haven't got any casts or Crusader factions or whatever else they are. That's out of the way. Holographic decoy. And there'll be some people that'll be cringing and saying, why are you thinking of holographic decoy? My reason for thinking of holographic decoy is you probably need a game breaker. It's very, very simple or easy to have a deck or have a game where things get into a stalemate and you need something to break the lock. Holographic decoy is possibly one of those solutions. Tap 1 mech above each 3 containers. Scrap. Yeah, so I can basically build it up and tap it. I don't know. I might keep it. Heavy industry. Sorry, that's bin. That's rubbish. Wouldn't even put that in a normal deck, let alone a good one. Heavy woods is quite good, and I've got red light. I've got Rocky Gorge as well. Ferrofibrous. It's a draw on a 45 card deck. I'm going to junk it for the moment. Scrap a card from your hand and choose a mech. Untap that mech at the end of the mission. Might be worth it. It's logistics. It's gone. Civilian settlement. That's just mean. Booty cage. Put booty cage time. Remove number of counters against. Maybe. That's been. And I'm just going with gut here. And trying to thin this out into some sort of semblance of cohesion, deal structure each attacking mech or blocking mech. Artillery bombardments in there. Okay, so I now have 3 missions. Temporary ceasefire, which I quite like, is decent. Expert taking the hit, which is decent, and expert timing. Choose a mech you control. For each point by which your initiative exceeds your opponent, that mech gets +1 attack. Well, Gearhead gives me +1 attack. Lance Commander gives me +2 initiative. Maneuvering Ace gives me 1. Redline gives me nothing. The Games Veteran gives me 2. I think I'm going to keep it in for the moment, just to see. I haven't got many places to play it, but if I'm playing pilots, then we can see. Zeus, I like the Zeus. 4 value for 3 plus just 2 attack. It's decent, and I quite like the Wyvern too. The Wolf Trap is decent. The Whitworth is decent for a 1 cost. You can get 3 damage out of it if you want with jump. The Vulture Prime, I'm not convinced with that. It's a 9 cost. It's gone. I've got 2 Vulture Seas. I like that. Vulcan, 042 for nothing. It's quite nice. Oh, I'll leave that. Irby. Irby's actually quite strong. When you look at what it costs you 1. Potentially you can get 3 with L for 1 out of it. Not bad value for money, so to speak. Same with the Ulla. The Thor C at 8. I'm going to jank that. I'm going to keep the Ryokan. The Pouncer, I'm going to keep that. Like Jaya B, I quite like. Naga A, too expensive. It's in the sideboard. Man of War, I'm going to keep that. Loki Prime, way too expensive. It's in the sideboard. Katana's okay. Jenna, Hoplite. It's a slow. It's durable. Don't know. I'm going to junk it for the moment. I need space. I've still got to cut 23 cards, and I'm on mechs. There's a lot going to get cut out of here. The Grim Reaper, 182. It's medium. It's 3 A and M. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep the Falcon Hawk. You get 3 damage out of a 2 cost. This little Falcon is okay. Exterminator I like. Enforcer's decent. Dragonfly is decent. Dasher D. Clint. I'm going to jank that Blackjack. And actually I'm going to take that Falcon out as well. A bit too expensive. The Atlas I'm going to take out as well. Too heavy. That Awesome I might take out. The Anvil I like. Clint is good value for money. So how many units have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27. So more than half of my deck is that. So let's do a bit of maths. Where's my pen and paper? 45 card deck. So if we split that into 5, that's 9 cards. So that's 18 resources, 9 other, and 18 mechs. Using the 24, 12, 24 rule. So my question is, I said I got 28. What happens if I take this down? Yeah, the Awesome's good. The Black Knight, the Clint, the Dasher. Let's put the Dasher. This is some people will be cringing at this point. Into the sideboard. Dasher, Dragonfly, Enforcer, Exterminator. Okay, I'm going to hack the Exterminator. I'm going to hack the Falcon Hawk. Enforcer's there. I'm going to take the Grim Reaper out. I suspect I'm going to lose my Jenna as well. That's not good. I like that little Jenna. Katana is munition, so I'm trying to cut it down to cut the munitions out. I'm going to lose my Naga Bee. I'm going to lose my Ulla. I'm going to lose the Vulcan. Zeus, the Wyvern's going to go as well. Wolf Trap. Vulture. Oh no! I've got the Herbie. Cancer Prime's going to go. Rykerman or Enforcer. Dragonfly. Dasher Clint. Right, okay. The Anvil should go as well. Right, where does that leave me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. So I'm 5 mechs down probably on where I want to be. So let's go back over here and let's have a look at the costs, and let's have a look at the mechs. So what have I got that hasn't got a lot of munitions buyout? Because if I can't afford it, then 3 for an Ulla isn't bad. I'm going to put the Ulla back in. I am going to put the... where are we? I'm going to put the Dasher back in. I'm going to put the Anvil back in. And I'm going to put a couple of heavies. I'm going to Nightjaya B and Jenna and the Wyvern. So what am I going to look at now? Let's go back and look at the type. So on 18 resources, I've got 5 tactics, 6 munitions, 5 assembly. So that, let me just do that again. So that's 5 tactics. I've got 6 munitions and 5 assembly. So that gets me on to 16. So I'm going to cut out 1, 2, 3 politics, and that should leave me on 18. 5, 8, 9, 14, 15, 19. 4, 5, 10, 14, 18, 19. So do I cut 1 politics? I'm going to cut 1 politics. Let's see how we go. Okay. So I'm currently running 1, 2, 3 missions. The expert timing I'm going to leave. Training facility is nice, but it's combos, but I'm not going to have the room for it. Solaris for Redline, Maneuvering Ace, Lance. I'm not going to put the Solaris in because I can't guarantee drawing it. Yes, it's a resource, but I can't play it without tactics anyway. So I'm probably better off just staying with the normal resources. Heavy Woods, Gearhead, Civilian Settlement. Okay, we're getting there. 52. I've got to cut 7. Probably need to cut a mech or 2 somewhere along the line as well. How many units am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm a little mech heavy. But if I go with 3 missions, then that leaves me 6 other cards. The Solaris Games Veteran is good value for money. It's a 3 cost, but you get 2 attack and 2 initiative. Scrap a card from your hand to untap it at the end of the mission. That's pretty decent. Rocky Gorge is always reasonable. Red line. What have I got to put the red line on? I've got the Zeus. I've got the Wyvern. I mean, the Zeus is 7. The Wyvern is worse. The Wyvern's 9. Wolf Trap. The Whitworth doing 5 isn't bad overall. Then I've got Overheat on the Black Knight. I've got Overheat on the Awesome. I think there is enough there to play the red line. The Manoeuvring Ace, given my general lack of speed, I mean, I've got my Jenna and I've got my Dasher and my Dasher D. And wasn't there a Dragonfly in there somewhere? Yeah, I've got 3 fast mechs and 4 fast mechs. I might keep the Manoeuvring Ace. Lance Commander, prevent 1 damage, is good. Holographic Decoy. Gearhead. I want to drop the Gearhead. Death Commando, I want to try and keep. That's basically my ace in the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got to cut 3. I'm going to put the point defense in the sideboard. Whether that's a good move or not, you can only find out. But remember, after the first game, you can always swap it back in. I'm going to put the holographic decoy in there as well. That gets me down to 49. I only need to get rid of 4 more cards. Heavy Woods. Civilian Settlement is just plain evil, but I've got to pay for it, and it's politics. I'll just sideboard that. As I said, this is quite brutal. I'm going to take the expert timing into the sideboard as well, which means I've only got to cut 2. So Wyvern, Night Giant B. Without the munitions, they're basically the same cost. Wyvern has the benefit of the red line synergy. It enforces decent value. Dash a D with the red line on it. That'd be funny. It'll absolutely nuke everything, but it's got the survivability capacity of a donut. Black Knight, awesome. Overheat 2. What do I drop? Yellow's a decent. I could really do with dropping a mech or 2. I mean, do I just go and do the crazy stuff and drop the Night Giant and the Wyvern? Having said I liked both of them and they were really good, and just dump them in order to have a balanced-ish deck. So 45 stream draft 1. So I've saved the deck now, and note that's not the same as saving the card pool. They are saved completely separately. If you go and look at your decks, then there's your stream. But if you look at your card pool, it's the same. It comes down here with the current name, so everything's saved. So what I've done here is basically I've tried to develop synergies. I've tried to look at resource requirements. I looked at cutting the munitions out, even though I've got more munitions than anything else. I've just got too many mechs in here that require assembly, and I am reliant on that. And I've only got 5 in the deck, so that's 1 in 9. So it could be a little bit of a roughish start, but I don't think there's anything else in here, munitions wise, that's going to help. Maybe the Falcon. I mean, if I've got to pay 2 for it, that's a pain in the ass. But I might look at that and go in there. The Vulcan at 2 is awkward. Anything with low A ratings, maybe the Hoplite is worth looking at. The Lackey Prime, no way is that getting on the board. The Exterminator, yes, put your Exterminator back in. Oh, Why did I take that out? It is a good solid mech for what it is. Grim Reaper. It's medium as well with a missile. Do I go Swarm? Do I try and go Swarm? Do I try and look at low costs? For what else have I got mech wise? I could put the Falcon Hawk in. I know this is turning it on its head, but if it works, it works. So what do I drop? What do I drop mech wise? Do I drop the Ryokan? It's too heavy. I don't want to drop the Dragonfly, although it's one of my most costliest ones. Do I drop the Awesome? And then on that, given the overheats, 1, 2, 3, 4 overheats, I actually drop the red line. I drop the red line because I've only got 4 units for it to go on to. But my curve is looking a lot shorter. Wolf Trap, Vulture, and these medium, fast, medium. Okay, it's slow. Maybe you drop the Enforcer for something else. It's fast. It's medium. It's slow. It's medium. I mean, what else have I got that's medium on here? Oh, well, sorry, it's not medium, is it? It's moderate. Pouncer Prime. Just take the buyouts on it. Vulture Prime, Loki Prime. Maybe I'll put the Ryokan back in. Maybe I'll put the Ryokan in instead of the Black Knight. Pouncer Prime. It's costly. Loki's never going to make it. Vulcan is reasonable. Vulcan. I'm going to drop the Pouncer Prime in. And then where were my slows? My slow was that Enforcer. Probably upped my curve slightly. And the Black Knight. Slow Whitworth, slow Zeus. So, but I got a lot of moderates in there. A lot of speed advantage. So let's just save that for a second. Gorge, Manoeuvring Ace to give me fast. Lance Commander, Heavy Wood, Death Commander if I need to take something. Taking the hit, I can easily play on something lower to keep something else in place. Something like the Exterminator, that value is pretty good. The Grim Reaper isn't as great, but the missile and the overheat kind of make up for it. Falcon Hawk is reasonable damage. Yeah, take the Whitworths out, but if you take the Whitworths out, what do you put in? Put the Vulcan in. You put the Falcon in for it. You don't put the Vulture Prime, you don't put the Naga in there. Is there something else that you put in its place? Yeah. Red line. So anyway, that's enough of me rabbiting on about this. But you can see that there are a lot of quandaries and discussions in order to make a cohesive deck. There are some cards in here that you think, why the hell isn't that in there? Solaris, for example. I mean, I drafted a Sandhurst. And maybe you should be saying, yeah, you should build your deck around Sandhurst. My problem is, how do I build my deck around Sandhurst? All my mechs basically are a lot of them are A and M. So going to that level of deck is or that level of resource spread is quite difficult. You know, there are some serious sacrifices in here. As I said, I like the Night Gyre B. I think it's a great card. Point defense system could be in the main deck. If someone drafts a load of missiles, then yeah, that could be coming out quite easily. I haven't got a great deal of of missions in here. I've got two very defensive missions. I haven't got much in the way of going forward. So the great thing about draft is that you are on a level playing field. It's all about how you build it and how you play it, and cohesion and working together. It's not who's got the biggest stick or the most cards or the broken combo. Um, so it is quite an interesting conundrum and challenge, and that's only the deck building stuff. Excuse me a second. Still got a tickly throat. Yeah, that's the deck building stuff. Doesn't take into account of the fact that you've got to play this against something that somebody else completely does the same with and has a completely different take on it. If anyone wants this, I've got this saved, and I can send that to anybody that wants to have a go and say, do you know what? I can come up with better crap than that. What you've got is rubbish. You should have put this in. You should have put that in. More than happy to do that if you want it. Request it. Uh, and have a look at it and see what you think. And if you want a game, give me a shout. I'll play my rubbish against your rubbish, and we'll see which rubbish is best. Um, but that's an insight into drafting. Hopefully, you can see that the packs and how to put them together is quite straightforward. You need to make sure that you save the card pool. There is a button at the bottom of the screen there. You need to make sure that you save the deck, and like anywhere else, you can go and join the server when it gets there. Yada yada yada. There you go, and then you can just go load entire deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Away you go. Roll a die. I'm going second. Now you can see why I went with one. One, put a card on it. 2, out. Thank you. Draw, draw. Now I've got my assembly. We'll put the vulture out. Draw, draw. Tactics. Dasher comes out. Vulcan. Tap, tap. Another munitions. Grim Weeper. Tap, tap. Maybe you go Dasher Prime Maneuver and Ace. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, potentially broken there. 1, 2. Drop another one. Dragonfly. It seems to come out reasonably. Probably don't play that. Play 2 mechs there. Play the anvil, etc. Probably play the politics. Dash the thingy. Zap something with the Death Commando. So I think it plays reasonably well from that. It's just the first hit. But then you just match up with somebody and play. The checksums that I was talking about earlier, you have to actually be in a game. So if I just actually go for a new game, I think I need to start a game as well. So I'll just host one for the moment, and then I'm in it. And then if I go and let's just go new card pool and new deck, so everything's cleared out. When I go when I go unlimited starter, I send directly to hand. And what you can see is that's put all of the cards in here, but down the bottom here, it says pack checksum 16807, which is an unlimited pack. If I then go back to the deck editor and add a mercenaries booster and send it to hand, different checksum, and on the deck editor over here, a mech warrior booster directly to hand, different checksum, and then finally the one of everything resources directly to hand, different checksum. And you can tell whether people are adding the correct thing because the checksums are specific. You go and change one of the, if you go and edit one of the files or whatever else, or try and cheat, then the number changes and then everyone knows it's gone. So that's a great way of checking things over. Now, of course, I want to reveal to all and see what is in my hand. So there you go. Right, anyway, that's enough of my blithering and blathering. Hopefully now you've got a little insight into sealed deck. You can now, using these uh, ideas, go and create your own sealed deck. You can play around with it. You can say to somebody and say, do you know what, fancy a quick game of sealed deck? I'll give you 15 minutes to draft your deck, or half an hour, or we'll start it now and draft them, and when you're happy I'll see you later after tea or something or other for a game. And then you can play away and use that. And it's a bucket load of fun because every game is totally different. The card choices are totally random. The amounts of what you get and the numbers of this, that, and the other, and the cards themselves are randomly selected. And from that point of view, they are also limited to the number of rares and uncommons and commons that you get as well. And from that point of view, everything's nice and balanced. It's effectively a level playing field where everyone gets the same amount of randomness. And it's much more fun in some respects than having a totally optimized deck and playing against someone who's starting out, or is just playing for fun or whatever else. So anyway, that's enough of me. I will be back. I plan on doing another draft version, this time to deal with the checksums and show how that should happen, and how that will be created in order to demo to you guys how you would create your decks for the sealed tournament. And then I've got another few other bits and bobs to do on that as well. So they'll be coming along over the next 2 or 3 weeks to explain a few things and share a few things, and hopefully we'll get some more matches in and stuff like that. I'm trying to get to the Singleton tournament in a few weeks' time, which could be fun. But anyway, enough of myself. I will see you soon for another BattleTech CCG expose. Take care, all. Look after yourself. It's a big bad world out there.